In this little part here, John, what would be a key thing you would say if there is a pastor of a church listening right now who may be feeling burnt out, discouraged, knowing, like you said, sometimes they go to bed at night and they think there's got to be more to it than this. What would your word to them be?
What you're really saying is if you start with those kind of questions and fears, that it's really opening up and leading a person into a better vision in line with the New Testament of what the body of Christ is all about. I would suggest that if a person really gets serious about the fact that the clergy position is not biblical and is creating more problems that it solves, then I would say that they would be wise to take steps in their own life and their own ministry to, you might say, again, each case is different, but just broadly speaking, to stop putting reverend next to their name and stop titles. In other words, become a brother and just function among the people as a brother. And of course, the person has gifts, but I'm just saying to step away and begin to let the body of Christ come forth and reseed and not be afraid to step back and let others begin to function and encourage other people to function. And I think that when people who are church leaders begin to see that a lot of what they've been doing is really out of line with the kingdom of Christ, it's very hard to change paradigms and to go in a different direction because it has so many implications and ramifications. But for pastors that are rethinking things, I just think that if they're serious about it, they're going to have to take some steps in the way they do ministry to begin to show a new model where they're realizing that the body is a body and it needs all the parts and that he's just one part and that he has a function, but it's not to be the function in the church and to run everything and manage everything and do everything. And each church situation will vary, of course. But I think that when people see a church leader laying down his life to show a different model of servanthood, I think that goes so far in helping the situation. And again, the Lord really has to touch a person's heart for them to be willing to recede and to step back and not take center stage and just begin to move into a different way of looking at how we do church. And of course, that does raise the whole question of how far can you take real church in the institutional system, because often can only go so far, and then you're going to hit a brick wall, and you may face some very difficult decisions that would have to be made because the institution is not friendly to New Testament ecclesia. It tends to be very defensive and can often lash out with a vengeance to maintain the status quo.
Yes. Well, I hope that is liberating to pastors and leaders that are listening, that are seeking to find out what are the key changes of what God is doing in the days we're living in.